Alright, Grammy committee. I need to know who was in charge this year because this had to be the worst Grammy Awards I have seen in years. And I don't know who was in charge, but I need to write a letter. Because I am still in disbelief that y'all actually had me sit up till 11:30 watching this mess. And what hurts my heart even more is the way that you guys did Whitney Houston. That's what I'm not happy about. And people watching this, I'm sorry, but the next few minutes I'm going to be talking about Whitney. So if you don't want to hear about Whitney, either turn the video off or fast forward because I can't get to the rest of the show until I talk about what frustrated me about how they handled this entire Whitney situation. To start things off, I understand that Whitney Houston just passed on yesterday and that they may have only had 18 hours to put together some type of tribute to do something or improv, but still, I expected so much more from the Grammys. Like, this is the Grammys. The Grammys is an award show probably with the most prestige out of all the music award shows. So, they're able to pull strings. They have resources. People will do any and everything to get some stage time. People will jump over leaps and hurdles to make sure that this show goes smoothly and comes out perfectly. So that's why I just knew that this Whitney tribute was going to be something very spectacular. I knew that they only had a few hours to do it and maybe they weren't going to be able to do a whole lot, but I thought they would at least do something. And they had me fooled because the award show started. You know, LL, he came out talking about, let me say a prayer. I said, oh, wait a minute, this is about to get good. They're about to have LL say the prayer. The curtain is going to open up. There's going to be the choir. Patty's going to come out rolling on the floor. And then Shirley Caesar's going to come out. She's going to be anointing everybody in the audience. And then I guess Jennifer Hudson will come out and start singing. And I mean, Carrie Hilson was there. I don't know what she would have been doing. Maybe she was going to come out and play the tambourine too. And they was just going to bring out all these people. And then there would be Kim Burrell and this person and that person. They was just going to sing. And no, that didn't happen. So LL said his prayer, and I said amen, amen, yes Lord. And then they played a clip of Whitney Houston singing I Will Always Love You from, I think it was the 94 Grammys. I was like, okay, cool, cool. And I'm like, okay, so what's next? And then I had to wait 2 hours. 2 hours and 30 minutes. And this is after Nicki Minaj had already raised whatever she raised from the dead that night and all that other crap I had to sit through. And then they bring out Jennifer Hudson. I'm like, okay, here we go. She's going to sing I Will Always Love You. And I was like, okay, this is cool, this is cool. But then, before you could even get into the Jennifer Hudson performance, it was over. She sang all of 1 minute and 30 seconds. She sang she sang the first verse and the chorus and walked off the stage. I was like, is somebody else coming out after this? And nobody did. It went to commercial, and then when they came back, it was back to the Mickey Mouse and latex gloves and strobe lights. I said, what in the hell? I mean, I'm just really frustrated that they would do that. And I understand that it was last minute, but this is my thing. The BET Awards, which was 3 days after the passing of Michael, they changed their show last minute too, just like the Grammys. And even though their stuff was so jacked up all over the place, a hot mess, probably one of the worst award shows I've seen that year too, they at least tried. And you know, on top of that, they were even able to get a Jackson, and not just any Jackson, but Janet, on the stage to come up there and talk about her brother. So I'm looking at that like, well, if BET with their limited resources and raggedy awards so that they have every year can do that and bring out a Jackson, and then they still did the little I'll Be There tribute, Neil sang a few songs, they did this, they did that, they had a little something, it was cool. So I just knew the Grammys was going to do the same thing, and I'm like, if BET Awards can do all that, Grammys, where were y'all at this year? And my thing is, all the talent that was sitting in that arena, all 17,000 people in there, y'all couldn't find nobody to do the tribute. I mean, there were so many people in there that would have loved to jump on that stage and do something. And Grammys, don't act like y'all didn't have time to incorporate a Whitney Houston performance, because you had Paul McCartney perform twice, and you had Chris Brown perform twice. And I'm not knocking either of them, but I'm just saying, Paul, we didn't need you to perform twice, and we didn't need you on the stage twice either, Chris. Like, that was an extra 10 minutes that could have went to a Whitney Houston tribute last minute. I'm like, Ledisi was sitting in there. Kim Burrell was there. You could have called CeCe Winans. You could have called Yolanda Adams. Mary was in the audience. You know what? You could have even got people that didn't even have to sing a Whitney Houston song. You could have got Gladys Knight up there. She could have sang You're the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me. And they could have just had pictures of Whitney playing in the background. We would have been happy. But they didn't do that. So Grammys, I am very, very just heartbroken and frustrated that that is all you guys would give Whitney Houston. And I really hope that y'all do something a little bit grander for her in the following, award ceremony next year. And hey, Deborah Lee, Stephen Hill over at BET, this is your moment. This is your chance to redeem yourselves as a network since y'all are such a mess. And maybe you guys should actually put on a Whitney Houston tribute within like the next 3 or 4 weeks. You know what? Call up your people, make some calls, get that stuff together, and y'all need to do a Whitney Houston tribute. I know y'all honored her at the BET Honors, but you know what? Whitney Houston, this is probably one of the biggest losses we've had since Michael Jackson. And you need to go all out for her. I'm just so frustrated at the Grammys for that. Like, I really sat up and watched that bull all night. My head was hurting or whatever. I'm sitting here arguing and cussing people out on this other video that I made. I'll talk about that later at a different time. But I'm just saying, I am so disappointed in the Grammys for that crap they did to Whitney. It was like they did that little it wasn't even 2 minutes, that little minute and 30-second tribute, and it was just back to regular schedule. It was like the other entertainers that were there weren't even talking about her. Aside from Stevie Wonder and I think LL Cool J, I didn't hear anybody else even mention Whitney Houston's name the whole night. All those people winning awards. I'm like, Whitney influenced each and every one of y'all. Y'all weren't even going to say, thank you, Whitney, rest in peace. Nothing. So you know what? That's just jacked up. It's jacked up. It's a slap in the face. And, totally disappointing. Pause. Okay. Now that I've calmed my blood pressure and all is well, I'll go ahead and finish my awards show review. So Bruce Springsteen opened the show. Totally didn't care because I was thinking about Whitney Houston. So Bruce, I'm sorry, but I wasn't paying you no attention. I respect the legacy that you have, but you know what? Sorry, didn't care. Bruno Mars performed, and I actually liked Bruno Mars' performance. It was such a step up from the year before, because the year before, I don't know what happened, but he was hoarse before he even got to start. So his voice last year was just shot at the Grammys. And I remember saying he needed some lotion in his throat that time. But like this year, he did really well. He did his song. He had the full band. And you know I like it when people have a band, because for some reason in 2012, people don't like music anymore, and they don't like to have a band. They just want a DJ. But he had a band. They did the whole James Brown footwork thing. He had the backup singers, and not just any band, but brass instruments. We don't see those too often anymore. So I really appreciated his performance. I thought it was really well put together. Excellent way to introduce yourself to people that aren't really familiar with you. And someone like me who's not too big on Bruno Mars, and I just know him for his radio singles, it made me appreciate what he has to offer. And I'm like, hey, maybe it probably ain't going to happen because I don't like you like that. Might buy your album. You know, maybe I might just buy your album. Might not happen though. Probably ain't gonna happen. But that's okay. I'm working on it. And Alicia Keys did an Etta James tribute. I had totally missed it though. I ran in the kitchen to do something, and by the time I got out, she was already done. I was like, well, I guess Etta must have had a minute 30-second tribute too. So while I'm talking, we need to make a list of all the people that we gotta fire. So we said we need to fire some people that was in charge of Whitney, and whoever was in charge of Etta James in a minute 30-second tribute, we need to put them on the list to be fired too. Put them on the list to be fired, okay? There's nobody over there. And, let me see. Oh, Adele. It was basically the night of Adele tonight. Adele just came, cleaned house on everybody, just took award after award after award. And it was so shady because they love to keep showing Lady Gaga's face and Rihanna's face and Katy Perry's face every time Adele won an award. And what was funny about Adele was she came up there smacking that gum every time she went to accept her, award. Just smacking and chewing. And she looks like she's a double mint chewer, like double mint gum. I feel like, I don't know what y'all chew in the UK, but Adele looks like she chews on a double mint gum, like in the green packet that. And I'm really happy for Adele, and I love her success because it's such a slap in the face to all these industry execs who keep force-feeding us this mediocre music that they've been giving us. And, giving us this lackluster generic entertainment for the last few years, especially basically since the digital era started. So for someone like Adele, who's so left field, who doesn't fit the realm of what everybody else is doing. She's not stuffing herself in a unitard and running on stage. And, she's not... I'm not even going to do that because y'all going to know who I'm talking about if I keep naming all these different things. But I'm just saying, she's so left field. And for her to basically sell 17 million albums in 2012, who does that? That's unheard of. So I wanted her... I was like, she deserves each and every Grammy that she's nominated for, because she single-handedly carried the music industry through all of 2011. And the fact that her album is still #1 right now, a full year after it was released, goes to show the impact that she's had. So you go ahead, Adele. You bad. School me. Chris Brown performed. I thought his performance was cool as far as the dancing and the visuals. As far as the musicality, I wasn't too crazy over it because he didn't have a band and there were no backup singers, and it was like the CD was just playing basically, and he wasn't really doing a lot of live singing, so I didn't care for that part. But the actual visuals and everything else, and him jumping from box to box and spinning on his head and doing all this other crazy stuff, it was cool. Chris, go ahead. You dance circles around me. I used to dance, but I don't even call myself a dancer by the time Chris get off stage. I'm like, oh, you dance? No, I don't dance. I just do comedy now. I haven't danced in years. Chris, you bad. School me. Kelly Rowland. Kelly Clarkson and Jason, can't think of his last name, but you know who I'm talking about. They did a duet. It was wonderful. Kelly's vocals were excellent, but what they needed to do was fix Jason's mic because his mic kept going out. So you know what? we need to add whoever was over the sound system that year or whoever was in charge of his mic, they need to be fired too. So put that on the list. Alright, but back to the performance. Vocally, they were excellent. And I felt bad because his mic kept going out. And he sounded like he was doing such a good job. So it was kind of shady that happened. But also, this is who else we need to fire. Whoever was supposed to brush Kelly's hair in the back, they need to be fired too. So put them on the list to be fired. Because they didn't brush the back of her hair and all that stuff in the back. I don't know what that was, but fire her. They need to fire whoever that was in charge. But other than that, Kelly did excellent. I love that Kelly's really just having a really great moment because she had the number one song in the country right now. I don't know if she does at the moment because, you know, ever since Whitney passed, Whitney's kind of been soaring all over iTunes. But, you know, and then Kelly did really good at the Super Bowl with the national anthem. I'm like, Kelly, that's right. You earned your place in music history and stay there. That's a good job. Go ahead, Kelly. You bad too. School me. Rihanna performed, and y'all know how I feel about Rihanna. But I'm going to give an unbiased critique. As someone who's watched many Rihanna performances, this was an improvement. You know, she did her a cappella vocals in the beginning and kind of sang the little ballad thing or whatever she was singing and tried to do a few runs. And, I mean, she missed a few notes, but you know what? She found them. She found them eventually, and she kept going, and she tried. And, you know, she tried to do a little bit of dancing and had her dancers, and she actually had stage presence. So, you know, I said, well, I'm shocked, Rihanna. I don't know if it's because Adele was in there and the presence of Whitney was kind of floating around in there, but you know what, Rihanna, you stepped your game up. So, I can give you 2 claps for your performance. Good job. You ain't bad and you can't school me, but you know what? Good job, I think. You tried. And you know what? I'm not even going to drag you for it. So, Rihanna. Okay. Then, right after Rihanna performed, there was like this couple. I don't know who they were, but they were like some type of bluegrass duo. I don't know who they were, but whatever they were singing, they went in. Like somebody had like a violin or something. The woman, her voice, she got to singing. She was just doing her thing. And the guy was doing his thing, and they were blending just perfectly. But of course, they were on the B stage, so they didn't get the full performance. And then they had to stop. So, you know what? Whoever was in charge of them not, you know, doing the full performance, we need to put them on the list to be fired too. Put them on the list to be fired. Because honestly, they could have just started singing "I Will Always Love You." However they were singing it, that would have been fine. That could have been the Whitney Tribute. That would have been good. As a matter of fact, whoever didn't think of that just now, put them on the list to be fired too. What are we at? Are we at 6? I think we had 6 people that's fired, right? 6? 7? Taylor Swift performed. I don't remember if she won any awards. I can't remember. Actually, she did win some awards. And you know, whenever Taylor wins an award, she's so surprised that she's won. And I'm like, Taylor, I'm so glad you're humble, and that's great. But woman, you keep selling 700,000 copies your first week every time you drop an album. You know that you are the S word right now. So go on and take your award and be proud and quit trying to do the phony. Oh, I just cannot believe. Taylor, you've been dragging everybody in the industry for a few years. So come on, Taylor, I'm happy for you. Just take your awards, please. And I respect the fact that you write your songs. Now, let me talk about what you were wearing in that performance. I don't know why you had that on, though, because it looked like you came straight out the trailer park. I was like, Taylor, I mean, why are you dressed like that? And is that a slit I can see? What the? Okay, but other than that, you know what? Hey, if that works for Taylor, obviously people are buying her albums and people love it, so I can't be a critic. So you know what, Taylor? You bad, too. School me. And Katy Perry performed. And I don't even know the song she sang. Well, I knew when she did E.T. that was cool. I like that song when it came out. But she sang some song. Whatever the song was, she was dragging the mess out of Russell Brand. So, Russell, I hope you wasn't watching that because she got into your feelings. She just let us know how sorry you were. And she's going to have a really good album if she writes her next album and she really just lets the material be about what she's going through in the last few months. That'd be a great album. I.e., Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill, Mary J. Blige, My Life, Joni Mitchell, the Blue Album. You know, those are like the great ones when women, not even just women, but when people are frustrated with how someone's done them. That's when you make the best albums. What else happened? Oh, by now, Whitney Houston, they had just did the Jennifer Hudson thing, so now I was pissed off by now. And then Chris Brown, Lil Wayne, and that DJ, whatever his name is, that has a song with Kelly Rowland, went on stage. And by then, I was already frustrated. And I had a headache because my thing was like, y'all just did this stuff. And as soon as the Whitney thing wrapped up, it was just right back to regular schedule. So, you know, they're up there with the Mickey Mouse and the glow-in-the-dark glue sticks and the haze and the rave and whatever else they were doing. And I was like, what is this crap? I can't. It was bright. It was bright. My eyes was hurting. I couldn't see. I couldn't concentrate. All this noise. I was just, turn it off. Turn it off. I just can't deal. What is this? And something I'm starting to hate about performances after 2008 is that they're becoming so visual that it's not about the music anymore. I'm starting to see laser shows and all this other stuff in metallic and people wearing robots and costumes that glow in the dark, but it's not becoming about the music. It's like more and more of the elements that are actually complementary to music are being taken off the stage. We're taking the bands off the stage. We're taking the backup singers off the stage. We're getting rid of all the stuff. Hell, we're not even singing anymore because we got auto-tune in the mic. And like, it's kind of like, come on, this is... It looked like I was at the VMAs when they performed that. So whatever they performed, I guess it was cool. But I need the musicality. That's why I like the Grammys, because it's about music. It's supposed to be about the bands and the violins and the cellos and the people doing this and the high C over middle E notes that come out from some of the vocalists when they sing. We're not really getting that anymore. It's starting to become, I don't know what I'm looking at anymore. And then, side note, I was pissed when they did the montage of the people that died. They totally forgot about Vesta Williams, which was a slap in the face because, of course, you know, a lot of times, a lot of B-list, C-list R&B singers that never had their, you know, their big break in the mainstream society or mainstream music, they always end up forgotten by the masses. So that was kind of rude. I hope they do some type of rebuttal or write a letter, do something. Whoever was in charge of that, put them on the list to be fired too. Oh, my last point. Nicki Minaj performed. And, Nicki, y'all know I ain't too big on Nicki. But I don't know what she was on that stage doing. I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt. I liked the stage setup and all the dancers and everything else, but I don't know what I was looking at. I was confused. I said, what is this? And she raising stuff from the dead and all. I'm like, not on Sunday. I just came from church. So she did all that crap. And basically by the time she was finished with whatever she was doing, Black History Month got canceled because that, I was like, Nicki, you are embarrassing us. All right. I mean, what she does works for her fans, and she sold a buckload of albums and has her radio hits and she does her thing, but I can't understand the hype. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a hater, and I may sound like one in this video, and I've tried to give Nicki a chance, and I said that Nicki, forget it. You know, I don't care. Just Nicki, I ain't like your performance. That's all it is, okay? Forget it. Nicki stands, y'all can just cuss me out and tell me what you thought later on. Anyway, I'm tired. I want to go to bed. I'm over these Grammys. I'm going to write my letter. We got about 12 people we need to fire, and, hey, that's life. Oh, dang. I was supposed to shout out some people, and I can't remember y'all names right now, so I'll do it on my BET Honors video, which is also going to be uploaded tomorrow because I was actually there. And they told us not to tell anything that happened, so I had to sit here tight-lipped for like a month. But now that it's going to air tomorrow, I can actually talk about what actually happened. So just check out that video. The people that I was supposed to shout out, just watch that video. I'm sorry, I totally forgot. Good night. Enjoy the rest of your lives. Say a prayer for Whitney's family. Say a prayer for the country. Deuces.